The first evidence. Imagine you decide to leave your home country and move across the globe to live on another continent. Do you think your risk of cancer or that of your offspring will change? It may surprise you, but the answer to this question is yes. This risk will probably change. The most compelling evidence that suggested a link between diet and cancer risk came from studies of migrant populations. Large number of individuals migrated from Eastern Asia to America or from Europe to Australia, from India to Africa and the UK, just to name a few. These moves may be accompanied by changes in environments, changes in lifestyle such as physical activity, dietary habits, and changes in the occurrence of specific diseases. Several migrations have been studied in detail. For example, the migration flow from Japan to the United States and from Europe to Australia. Also, population movements from rural to urban areas within one country have been investigated. Researchers compared the occurrence of cancer in these migrant populations with the cancer incidence in the country of origin. They discovered interesting facts. Cancer patterns among these migrant populations often change fast. Within 1 or 2 generations, the immigrants already develop the same types of cancer as others in the host country. These cancer types are different to those in their home country. A very interesting example are the people who moved from Japan to the United States from the late 19th century onwards. These Japanese people settled in America and changed their very traditional Japanese way of living, moving to American habits within several decades. And not just their habits changed. Several decades ago, colorectal cancer incidence was very low in Japan. Meanwhile, in the US, this was already quite high. Interestingly, in the first and second generations of these Japanese who moved to the US, the occurrence of colorectal cancer was nearly as high as in Americans, especially in Hawaii. An astonishing difference, changes in the opposite direction also happened. The occurrence of stomach cancer was really high in Japan but low in the US during the period that migration took place. Among those Japanese people who moved to Hawaii, the incidence of stomach cancer decreased, also within the first and second generation. So, following migration, the occurrence of certain changes may increase cancer while the occurrence of other cancers may decrease. In the example, immigrants showed an increase in colorectal cancer but a decrease in stomach cancer, and this within the short period of 2 generations. Migrants share a common genetic background as do their children. The genes within a population do not change within a generation or two, so these observations could not have a genetic cause. Instead, the environment and or lifestyle must be involved, possibly including changes in dietary patterns. Migrant studies in particular show that the main determinants of cancer are environmental and that cancer patterns can alter in a relatively short time. Migrant studies on their own obviously cannot prove that diet is causally related to cancer, as many other factors change when people migrate to a different country or continent. However, it is a relatively simple way to observe populations and to formulate certain hypotheses. These hypotheses can then be tested through other more rigorous research. In summary, when you move across the globe, your risk of certain cancers will probably not change a lot, but the risk for your children and especially for your grandchildren will. And these changes are related to changes in lifestyle. Thank you.